Thank you for joining me for All Things Green presentation. I'm Lindsay Brown. I'm a nutrition mentor and registered dietitian here at Basics Market. And if you have questions throughout the presentation, please use the live chat function to submit your questions. And we have a great IT support help here that will read out your questions to me throughout the presentation. Also, our class recording will be available after the class. That's going to be posted on our website under class library. As well as the PowerPoint presentations will be available as well. A little bit about Basics Market before we get started. So Basics Market is a locally owned market with a purpose: nurturing strong, healthy communities through food with simplified selection, fresh ingredients, and healthful recipes. Our 5 locations in the Portland area are small and accessible, focused on just what you need to cook healthful meals at home. Okay, so we're going to get started. Just a quick overview of all things green. I'm really excited to do this presentation because I'm not sure if you guys are really excited about spring after this past month. It was pretty cold, but I'm really looking forward to warmer and more sunny days ahead. So this presentation is something that excites me, and hopefully it will you as well. But green produce, fruits and vegetables in general, are going to be nutrient dense. They're high in vitamin and minerals, phytonutrients, phytochemicals, things that help reduce inflammation in the body and help fight free radical damage. They're also really rich in fiber. And so we're going to go over a few of those green produce that I've highlighted and go a little bit more in depth of the nutrient benefits, as well as some fun facts. And I'm going to be demonstrating 2 recipes: a parsley pesto and matcha nut butter bites. Sorry, our slides are frozen right now a little bit. Okay, I'm not for sure if they are frozen on your end, but I'm going to go ahead and start with the parsley pesto recipe demonstration. And I really like this recipe because if you're looking for something that is dairy-free, also a little bit more affordable on the cheaper end, because pine nuts, let's face it, they can be a little bit expensive. So this is a great alternative that uses parsley instead of basil, and we're using almonds instead of pine nuts. And then again, this one's dairy-free, so we're not adding any cheese to this recipe. So I'm going to start off with, we're going to add a ½ cup of almonds. And these can be whole almonds, slivered almonds, sliced almonds, so any almonds that you have available, a ½ cup. Then we're going to add 2 cups of fresh parsley. And 2 cups are about a bundle of parsley. So I'm just going to get these torn off and then put in the blender. And then just so you know too, for storage purposes, to kind of keep your parsley a little bit more fresh and crisp, you can put a little bit of water in, mason jar like this, and that will help keep them a little bit more fresh and crisp if you're going to store them in your refrigerator for a few days. Okay, so we're going to add that, and now we're going to add a 1/3 of a cup of olive oil. And now we're going to add a 1/2 of a lemon. I like to use my hand to catch the seeds. If you don't have a little mini strainer, you can just do. Okay. We're going to add that. And now we're going to add a clove of garlic, a ½ teaspoon of salt, well. It might get stuck a little bit, but I am doing the matcha bites, and I really like the food processor for that. So we're going to be using the blender, and I tested it out, and it worked earlier, so we'll see if it works. So I'm going to down a little bit. And sometimes too with this, you can add a little bit of more olive oil to it. So that is definitely okay. I think I'm going to grab some if it doesn't fit. And I grab a little bit more olive oil, put in there. And that is totally fine. I mean, pesto is supposed to be very rich in oils. And if you need to add more, that is totally fine. Okay, it worked. Yay! Okay, so now you have a rich pesto made out of parsley, and this is great as a vegetable dip. You can obviously toss it in warm pasta. You can also put it as a sauce for making pizzas at home or a flatbread. So this is a great recipe for all of those, but I really enjoy it just as a nice vegetable dip. The other thing that's really great for a vegetable dip is that you want to pair your vegetables with a healthy fat source. So things like olive oil and almonds, that's going to help your body absorb those fat soluble vitamins such as vitamin K, vitamin A. So you really want to incorporate healthy fats with your vegetables to enhance the absorption of your fat soluble vitamins. So that's our parsley pesto. I'm going to put that over here. Okay. Cleaned up. Okay. Now we're going to see if the slides are working. They are not, Troy. Is there a way we can manually? Okay. Virtual stuff is great, but sometimes we have those technical difficulties that we, just have to manage and get through. So, okay, we got it going. Thanks for your patience. So parsley, just a little bit more about it. It is native to the Mediterranean area. And the most common ones that you'll see in the grocery store are curly and Italian flat leaf. In the parsley pesto recipe, I used an Italian flat leaf for that one. And then if you're really eager to start your garden, you can sow the parsley seeds in March. I would probably wait a few weeks before doing that just to allow the soil to warm up. But if you sow them in March, you can harvest the parsley in July. So that's something that you can maybe look forward to doing. Okay. There we go. Nutrition benefits, like I mentioned before with parsley, it's a great source of vitamin K. And vitamin K is a fat-soluble vitamin that helps with proper blood clotting and also bone building, helping produce bone building cells within our body. So vitamin K is really important to help with bone integrity and strength. I think blood clotting is one of those ones that we know most about, but vitamin K plays an essential role with helping that bone integrity and keeping our bones healthy and strong. It's rich in vitamin C, so it helps support our immune system as well as collagen production, helps keep our skin healthy. It's something, you know, if you are going in for surgery, you have incision, you know, vitamin C is really important to consume before and after to help with that healing process. Parsley is also really rich in carotenoids, lutein, beta-carotene, and xanthan, and these are really important in helping with support eye health. And parsley and other green produce like spinach are going to be excellent sources of these carotenoids. So this is just a view of the parsley pesto. If you want to take a quick look at that, I'll review the ingredients again since we got the slides going. But have a cup of almonds, 2 cups of loosely packed Italian parsley. We have a cup or 1 clove of barley, a third cup, and a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. A half of a lemon juice, a half a teaspoon of sea salt, and an 1/8 of a teaspoon of pepper. So our next green produce I want to highlight is asparagus. So asparagus is going to be available in Oregon end of April to the end of July. So look for asparagus to maybe hit the markets next month. Asparagus is a perennial, and so it takes, if you're wanting to grow asparagus, it takes about 3 to 4 years to really establish system and be able to produce the spears. So it is a long-term investment, but it's a perennial. So after the 3 to 4 years is up, it's pretty low maintenance from there on out. So that's something, if you're wanting to invest that time up front, it's something that you're going to be rewarded on the back end. With asparagus, it does have a high respiration rate. So meaning that the nutrient content is going to decrease pretty frequently if you store it in the refrigerator more than a few days. So if you're going to buy asparagus, and I know I'm guilty of this as well, sometimes I leave it in there for like 3 or 4 days, and I come to it and it's a little wilted, then if you're going to buy it, try and make sure to use it within a few days. Same kind of storage tip, like I was saying with the parsley. You can get a mason jar, put a little bit of water, not a lot, because you don't want to soak the ends of it to make it more soggy, but put a little bit of water at the bottom of it, keep it upright, and that's going to help keep it crisp longer in the refrigerator. So that's something that you can do easily. And if you're wanting to learn more about how to store your produce, then this book, Eating on the Wild Side, is something that I highly recommend. It's by Jo Robinson, and she goes through a plethora of produce on how to select and how to store it to maximize nutrient value as well as not waste money. So that's something that I would highly recommend if you're interested in that, is to purchase that book or go to your local library and see if they have it. Okay, next. There it goes. Nutrition benefits for asparagus. So the one that I really get excited about is the folate. Asparagus is excellent folate. Folate is a B vitamin. It plays an important role in red blood cell production. It also plays a vital role in decreasing neural tube defects early in pregnancy. So folate is extremely important to consume early on in pregnancy to decrease those neural tube defects. It also helps support cardiovascular, and it does that by helping decrease homocysteine, which homocysteine is an amino acid that our bodies produce. And homocysteine levels are correlated to heart health. So the higher the homocysteine level is, there's a greater risk of developing heart disease versus homocysteine levels that are lower. And folate directly impacts or lowers those homocysteine levels. So that's something really important to focus on. It's also a good source of vitamin A and C, antioxidant vitamins that help support eye health and our immune function, as well as collagen production. It also helps with different things like, again, wound healing. So if you're going in for surgery and you have an incision, these are types of foods that you want to consume to help expedite that wound healing process and decrease risk of infection. It's also a good source of selenium. Selenium is a mineral that supports thyroid health. So a lot of the selenium that we consume through our diet is going to go towards supporting that thyroid health and helping produce those hormones. So very important mineral. Okay, so our next green produce that we're going to focus on here are avocados. And avocados, if we're looking for seasonal or local, then California is going to be the closest. And they come in season late spring to early fall. So if you're wanting to buy more local seasonal avocados, then you should see those between spring and fall. Avocados are a fruit. And a fun fact that I learned, I watched a program on the evolution of avocados. And I learned that when California growers started to plant avocado trees, I think this was in the 1920s, and they were considering naming it alligator fruit and for the official market name. So I think it was a good choice to go the avocado route versus alligator fruit, but it's kind of just fun information. My kids kind of laughed at it. Okay, so avocados, there are quite a few varieties. I saw up to 50, and it seems like there's about 15 that are commonly found on the market. And I put a link there on the PowerPoint that, again, will be posted after the class if you want to learn more about the avocado varieties and when they're in season, and as well as nutrition value. This link will take you to a site that had a great amount of information about avocados. Okay, the nutrition benefits of avocados. Okay, they're fantastic in fiber. I love avocados for this reason. A half of one is 5 grams of fiber, which is over about 15 to 20% of your daily needs. So great amount of fiber. And then it's rich in heart-healthy monounsaturated fats. So monounsaturated fats help improve total cholesterol as well as helps lower those LDL levels. So LDL levels are the bad cholesterol, and monounsaturated fats help lower that. And with avocados, you're looking at most of the calories coming from a fat source, and a large percentage of that is going to be monounsaturated fats. So they're an excellent source of monounsaturated fats. They're also an excellent source of potassium. They're one of the highest foods that containing potassium foods out there, greater than a banana if you're looking at serving sizes. So they are an excellent source of potassium, and potassium helps control blood pressure. It helps relax our blood vessels. So if you're having problems with high blood pressure, then adding foods that are high in potassium, which pretty much all produce is going to be a great source of potassium, but avocados in particular are going to be an excellent source of potassium. Also, I put a link to our avocado toast recipe. If you're wanting to learn how to make avocado toast, it's pretty simple, but we provide some different varieties on how to make avocado toast a little bit more exciting or individualized to your liking. So that's on our website. You can click that link and it will directly take you to our recipe. Okay, next slide. So our next green produce that we're going to focus on is seaweed. And I think this is underrepresented, and I wanted to highlight it in the presentation today because it really isn't one that is talked about a whole lot. And so with seaweed, a fun fact that I learned that the marine algae seaweed, so grown in the ocean, those are the ones that are going to be edible. And freshwater algae are toxic. So if you find and come across freshwater, seaweed, algae, don't eat it. Leave it, or the marine is going to be the safer one, but I recommend just purchasing it at your local grocery store to make sure it's safe. But yeah, so the marine algae is going to be the edible type of seaweed that you're going to find on the market. With seaweed, again, there's a lot of different varieties. I kind of just highlighted the 3 common ones that you'll probably find in a lot of markets: the nori, wakame, and kombu. I put a link down there for wanting to learn more about different varieties, as well as their nutrient benefits that goes beyond what I'm going to present on. Then you can click that link. Okay, so the nutrition benefits, the thing that I want to focus on most, and this is a nori sheet that we carry here in the store, but seaweed is rich in iodine, and similar to selenium, iodine supports thyroid health, in particular the production of T3 and T4. And as far as we know as scientists, nutrition experts, iodine is only used in the thyroid. So we haven't found that the body utilizes it in any other way besides supporting thyroid health, which is pretty interesting to me. But iodine is very important with thyroid health and keeping that healthy, as well as decreasing thyroid disease potentially later on in life. Majority of the seaweed is made of a dietary fiber, and fiber helps support gut health as well as heart health. So this is a great source for fiber. It also contains, if you're looking for a vegan source of omega-3 fatty acids, then seaweed is going to be an excellent source for omega-3 fatty acids that is animal-free. So you can incorporate that into your diet. Another kind of tidbit with iodine, if you're not, because for the most part we get iodized salt, and with the market expanding with different specialty salts, I would really recommend for you to check the label to see if your salt is fortified with iodine or if it's naturally in there, because there are more specialty salts available on the market that do not contain iodine. And for Americans, that's going to be our primary source. And so if it's not, then I recommend, if you're wanting to fortify it naturally, you can get one of the seaweeds and grind it up fine powder and add it to your salt so you can naturally fortify it. So that's an idea if you're wanting to go the natural route with fortifying your salt. And for that, the seaweed that contains the most iodine is going to be the kombu, and then wakame, and then nori. They're all really excellent in it, but the kombu it's extremely high in iodine. So if you're wanting to fortify your salt, that one might be a great option, since you'll just need to add a little bit to it to fortify it. We also have a kid-friendly sushi recipe if you're really interested in getting the kids in the kitchen and making some fun sushi rolls. Then we have that recipe link on the slide that you can access as well. Okay, next, green produce, cruciferous vegetables. And I kind of grouped all these because there's a lot of green cruciferous vegetables, and they have a lot of the same benefits. And so cruciferous vegetables are going to include like cabbage, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, we have turnips, and radish, and watercress, kale, collard greens. So those are all considered cruciferous vegetables. And the great part with cruciferous vegetables, if you're looking for seasonal and local, you can pretty much find those almost all year round, because a lot of those can to grow in cooler temperatures, and something that can be grown in hoop houses or greenhouses during the cooler winter months here in this area. So that's kind of one of the great benefits with cruciferous vegetables. More likely, they probably won't travel too far from where people currently live if you're living in this area. So nutrition benefits for cruciferous vegetables, great source of vitamin C. So another, option for getting vitamin C. I think with vitamin C, we most commonly think of your citrus fruits. And with cruciferous vegetables, you're going to get a great source of vitamin C eating cabbage and broccoli and Brussels sprouts. So that's another way you can get in vitamin C if you're not a citrus fan. Phytonutrients that may help decrease cancer or have anti-cancerous properties. So there's more and more research looking into these special phytonutrients and how they act with decreasing tumor size, tumor growth. So there's some really interesting research that has been going on and continuing in the cancer field. Also, broccoli and Brussels sprouts contain a metabolite that's called indole 3-carbonyl, and this has shown to help increase sex hormone clearance in the liver. And this is mostly focusing on estrogen. So for women who might be like estrogen dominant, having some issues with estrogen dominance or producing too much estrogen, then there again is some more interesting research utilizing cruciferous vegetables to help decrease those levels naturally in the body. So it has shown that it might help decrease the risk of developing premenopausal breast cancer. So I'm really excited to learn more about that research because it is pretty new, but I think some really promising effects from consuming cruciferous vegetables. So our next green item that we're going to highlight is matcha. And matcha, you'll find if you come into the Tualatin store where I'm doing the presentation this evening. We have our matcha nut butter bites, nourishing milk station that has all the ingredients on it. So if you're interested in coming in and visiting our store, all the ingredients are right there, along with the recipe card. So you can find that. But the matcha, I wanted to highlight it as well because kind of similar to like seaweed, matcha's not maybe highlighted as much as a really excellent source of different antioxidants and nutrients. So with matcha, it is young green tea leaves that are ground into a fine powder. And it's most commonly used to make matcha tea or put into smoothies or baked goods. And so like this recipe where it's not necessarily a baked good, it's a no-bake good, but we're adding matcha into the nut butter bites. It also has a small amount of caffeine. Each brand is going to have a little bit different caffeine level, so check that out when you're purchasing it. But about 1 teaspoon is going to contain 70 milligrams of caffeine. And that's equivalent or a little bit less than a regular cup of brewed coffee. Also, I do recommend when you purchase matcha, make sure you're purchasing it from a reliable manufacturer that sources the green tea leaves from Japan and tests for heavy metal contaminants. And the reason I say that is that some matcha that might be grown in China, they have found that there are higher levels of heavy metal contaminants such as lead because of the water source that they're using. So it's really important when you purchase matcha, make sure that it's being sourced from a reliable source and that the company tests the finished product for heavy metal contaminants. And so Navitas is a great brand. I have contacted them personally to ask what their testing procedures are for their products, and they have a great one in place. So I'm very particular about those testing protocols. And after speaking with the company representative, I was very comfortable with bringing that into our stores. So nutrition benefits of matcha. The main thing I wanted to focus on for matcha is ECGC. I'm just going to use the acronym because you don't want me to pronounce the full name. It would be a little bit choppy. But this is a polyphenol and has a powerful antioxidant property. So it's shown to, with antioxidants, have shown to help reduce free radical damage. And with matcha, there is a significant source of ECGC. With compared to like green tea, it has like 5 to 6 times the amount of ECGC compared to if you're drinking green tea. And the reason for that is that you're actually consuming the entire green tea leaf versus just steeping it in hot water. You're actually consuming the entire leaf. So that is why it is a greater source in green tea. It also has shown to help improve cholesterol levels and lower your LDL cholesterol levels. So very similar to other things that I mentioned earlier, but another great way to incorporate some maybe different green items into your diet and benefit from the ECGC. So with the matcha nut butter bites, I'm going to go ahead and start that recipe demonstration. And we're going to start off with the nuts. And I have macadamia nuts, which we say about 5 ounces of macadamia nuts that are roasted and salted. 5 ounces is about a cup. So if you don't have a scale, then make sure you have about a cup of macadamia nuts. And then I have a cup or 5 ounces of raw cashews. Okay, now I'm going to pulse that and get it smooth. Now I'm going to add the matcha and the almond and vanilla extract. So with matcha, I'm going to put a tablespoon of matcha. So if we were calculating how much caffeine, we're going off of 70 milligrams. There's 3 teaspoons in a tablespoon. So we're adding about 210 milligrams of caffeine into this recipe. Now we have a teaspoon of almond extract. I don't know about you, but I love almond extract. So any dessert recipe that incorporates almond extract, especially cookies, I really am a big fan of. Vanilla extract, 1 teaspoon. Now we're going to add a tablespoon of honey. Now, if you need to add more honey, because this is a heart-healthy recipe, and it's lower in sugar. So if you need to add a little bit more honey, it's still going to be a lower sugar dessert option for you. So another tablespoon will be fine if you need a little bit more moisture or if you want a little bit more sweetness. But I think you will be surprised with the vanilla and the almond extract how that really brings the sweetness out. Okay, so we're going to add that. I'm going to turn it back on. cashews and the macadamia nuts. So a great source of monounsaturated fats and polyunsaturated fats as well. And it definitely is a great on-the-go snack. If you need something, don't have refrigeration available, but you need something that is substantial, you know, a couple of these bites are great. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and add, since I want a smoother bite, I'm going to add the rolled oats to the food processor, as well as the hemp hearts. I have 1 cup of rolled oats. I have 1/4 cup of the hemp hearts, and then a tablespoon of chia seeds. Now, if you want a bite that has a little bit more texture, and our recipe is like this, then you're going to add that into a bowl without processing it in the food processor. But I want it a little bit smoother, so you can just add all the ingredients to the food processor. Okay, I think we're ready. Just gonna dump that out. Mix it. It might look a little dry at first, but if you handle it and press it in your hand, the warmth of your hand is going to help mold it, okay? So you got a nice little matcha nut butter bite. And this recipe is gonna make about 24 bites. You can use a melon baller or a tablespoon to get it out with, but I'm just going to judge it by just eyeball it on the size that they need to be. And then you can store these in your refrigerator up to about 7 days, and they'll stay fresh. You can freeze them for longer if they last that long. They went pretty quick when we were doing the recipe test here at the store. So they might fly out to the refrigerator too quickly, but they're a great recipe if you want to freeze and do double the recipe and put it in your fridge or freezer. They're a great recipe to do that, and it'll stay fresh. So I think that is the last slide. I am going to open it up for questions. If anybody has questions about any of the information I presented on or the recipes, please feel free to submit those. I'm going to go through our locations. So if you have not been to one of our stores in the Portland area, we are located on Sandy Boulevard. We have a location in Tualatin on Old Tualatin Sherwood Road, Hillsdale, Capitol Highway. We also have a meat market in Beaverton, and we're also located in Pearl District, Love Story. So if you have an opportunity to visit us, that would be great. We would love to have you come in. And also just a reminder, we do have the Nourishing Meal Station for the matcha nut butter bites at our Tualatin location. So if you're wanting to see that, but the recipes are going to be all online. We also have how-to videos, short recipe videos that are 2 minutes or less that are posted on our website as well. And I'm going to be posting the matcha nut butter bite tomorrow, so that's going to be available if you just want to see a short recipe video of that recipe. We also have culinary classes coming up this month. So we have a class each week this month. So I encourage you to visit our website and sign up for one of the culinary classes. Okay, well, it looks like we don't have any questions tonight. So I just want to thank you again. and I look forward to seeing you next month.